Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the first session of Entrepreneurship Academy 2020. Today we will talk about basic elements of business model design and critical factors of starting and running a successful business startup. Let me introduce our speakers first. Professor Simon Lam from Hong Kong U Business School is currently the director at Center for Asian Entrepreneurs and Business Values. Professor Lam has rich teaching experience with his research interest in leadership, entrepreneurship, and cross-cultural management. Without further delays, let me pass the time to Professor Lam. Professor Lam.
Right, now, welcome everyone. So can you see the screen here? Good. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, now, today's topics, creating startup success, business model design, and entrepreneurial leadership. I just got the latest statistic. Now, super difficult to do a startup, right? And well, I'm not going to say super difficult to do a startup. It's super difficult to do a successful startup. And according to the latest statistics, only 7% of all the startups can survive in 7 years. So in other words, 93%, okay, of startup die. So the problem is not to say develop a startup, but how to develop a successful startup. That is what we're trying to do. So now, I put down here an entrepreneurial journey, right? Usually the journey will start with an opportunity. You may come up with a new business idea. You may come up with a new technology, yeah. So one of your friends asks you to, hey, they come up with a very interesting opportunities. Why don't we say join hands to start a company? So you see an opportunity, okay? But again, opportunity doesn't start a company, okay? Doesn't start a business. You have to kind of put the opportunity into a business model. So you start with a business model, okay? Now come up with a business model. Of course, business model, the first version of business models is usually is not very good, okay? So you continually modify the business model until you work. So you go through and test a pivot kind of process, right? Now you get the business model right, then of course you do selling. Okay, nothing happened until customer come and buy your products. So then you start to do some sales, then profit coming in, then you scale up the organization. So this is a classic entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so I actually published a book 2 years ago, and the title of that book is Entrepreneurial Quotient. The book basically look at the 8, what we call critical elements of a successful startup. So this is what you should do. You want to start a successful company. So first of all, identify opportunities, okay, and of course, and develop that into a business model, modify it until you work, start to do some sales, and of course, finance, okay, manage your finance. If you are very good, then round 1, A and B and C and so on. Of course, ability to execute also very important. Executions. In other words, lots of these things is just ideas. Okay, opportunities maybe just opportunities. Business model is a piece of paper, right? You come up with a business plan. It's just a plan, but ability to execute. In other words, that is your ability to deliver what customer want. Right? At the end of the day, entrepreneurship, okay? You want to buy a house, of course, location. But entrepreneurship actually is very simple. Right? It's customer, and customers. You don't get customers, you don't get entrepreneurship, okay? So able to deliver what the customer want. And of course, leadership, building a team, you need to build a team. And of course, not only that you have to manage a small team or manage a small startup, but also you have to manage yourself as well as an entrepreneur. So these are the I would say key elements of a successful startup. Plus, of course, some random chance. Okay, say you work very hard. Of course, you work 24 hours non-stop, and you have a very good business model. But at the end of the day, sometimes you simply say, well, not lucky enough. Okay, but of course, luck we cannot control. Right? But all these things we can control. Now, but remember, I put down key to success is this one, time this one, time this one, time this one. It's the multiplications of the X elements. So I put down multiplications. In other words, you can come up with you can identify a very interesting and good opportunities. Okay, you can even come up with a very good business model and perfect. Okay, and modify it until it works, but you cannot do sales. So all you have 100 score, okay, 100 mark for the first one, 100 for the second one, 100 for the third one, but you have 0 mark, right? For you just cannot do sales, okay? So multiplication means that you have to do all these things very well. You cannot say that, hey, I developed a great business model, and but I don't know how to manage myself as an entrepreneur. I know how to manage I know how to manage myself, but I don't know how to build a team. Okay, so at the end you have to do all these things well enough to give you the key to success. Okay, and if you score 0 to any of this, sorry, the overall score will be 0. So let's look at business model then. I think today we don't have time to go through the 8 elements of startup, but at the end, I think we start with business model, right? Business model, and remember many years ago, okay, the richest man in Hong Kong, Mr. Lee Ka-shing, one of the AGM, okay, annual general meeting, board meeting. After the meeting, okay, Mr. Lee used to say entertain some questions from the shareholders. So one shareholder basically asked him this, okay, sir, you are one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Hong Kong. Okay, I also want to be an entrepreneur. Can you teach me how? Now this is his reply. First and foremost, a good business model. Okay, this is from the richest man in Hong Kong. You want to start a company, okay? You want to like him. You want to start a successful company. First and foremost, good business model. Richard Branson, he started a company many years ago, Virgin Groups, this time London Business School. Okay, he was invited to London Business School, and after the talk, okay, students asked him the same questions. Sir, no, he's actually Sir Richard Branson. Now, sir, you start good companies, okay? And teach us how. This is his reply. Okay, an excellent business model or never, okay? And the richest man in the world, is he still the richest man? I don't know, they actually change hands almost every day now. Bill Gates, okay, started a company called Microsoft, okay? He was he was a Harvard dropout, right? He never graduated from Harvard, but he was actually invited back to Harvard and give a talk, okay, to the students there. And after the talk, it was reported in the news that students asked him these questions. Okay, sir, okay, you start good companies. Can you teach us how? Same questions, same reply. This is all down to a good business model. Okay? Now this time, Peking University, EMBA program, right? And he was the chairman and CEO of China Mobile, one of the biggest organizations in China. I think he retired. He may not be the chairman anymore. But at that occasions, okay, same questions. Students ask him, hey, you want to start companies? Please tell me how. This is his reply. Basically, same questions, same reply. The challenge is not technology. Okay, challenge is not even applications. Challenge is not even money. The challenge is business model. You have to develop a good business model. Larry Page started a company. What's the name of that company that he started? Google's, of course. Okay, he started a company called Google. Now, according to him, get the business model wrong, there's almost no chance of success. Okay? Now listen to him. Right? Get the business model wrong, and there's almost no chance of success. So you have to get the business model right. And by the way, I have a very simple definition of a startup. What is a startup? Okay? What actually is a startup? I put down a simple definition here. A startup is a temporary organization used to search for a repeatable and scalable business model before running out of resources. Okay, I guess this is an important definition of a startup. What is a startup? Temporary organization. Okay, what is temporary organization trying to do is to look for and search for a business model that works. Okay, before running out of resources. So what a startup trying to do is not to sell things. It's not to make a profit. Okay? It's not to kind of trying to get finance. Okay, the single most important job of a startup or thing that a startup have to accomplish, okay, is to search for a business model that works for the company. This is so after you search for a business model, after you get the business model right, after you begin to sell things, after you begin to say, hey, this business model actually works for us. Okay, that is the end of a startup. You finish the startup stage. Okay, the next stage is development. Okay, you scale it up. All right. So this is a definition. So for a startup, idea doesn't start a company. Okay, you have an idea, but this is an idea, right? And even opportunity, if opportunity doesn't start a company, it's a business model that actually start the organization. Because for an idea, an opportunity, you can talk about it, but you cannot execute that idea. Okay, so business model basically explain how a company creates values for itself while trying to delivering products or services for the customers. Okay, so you can test and also you can execute rather than talk about it. So let's look at the business model. But before we look at the business model, what is the business model, and what is the major components of a business model? Okay, let me say this. Let me say this. Never start a company without a business model. Scene number one for entrepreneur. Remember this. Never start a company without a business model. You may have a business idea, good. You may start with a new technology, good. You may have a product ideas, very good. Okay, but don't start a company without a business model. A product ideas, okay, or even a prototype of a product is not a business model. Okay, don't start business without a business model. Scene number two refer to scene number one. Now, business model. So here I put down an business model canvas. So basically, business model trying to answer 9 questions. Okay, trying to answer 9 questions. First one, value propositions. Okay, value propositions. So the question go like this: say, what kind of a problem or pain point, right, that you help the customer to solve? What kind of problem that you help the customers to solve? Okay, and what is that specific features of your product or services? Okay, that match the customer needs. So these are the questions that that you have to answer. This is not just the product ideas. It's not about the product. It's not about the features of the product as well. Okay, you have to answer this one. Okay, what kinds of problems or pain points that you help your customers to solve? And move to the other side. Number 2. Okay, so what are the who? Okay, for whom are we solving a problem with that specific need? Who are the customers? Okay, who will actually buy this kind of service and product from you? They actually have that kind of need in computers and provide products and services. They're trying to help to solve their problems. So who are those customers? Okay, how big are the size of the customers? Who are actually those customers that will buy? Okay, can you come up with a customer profile? Number 3, channel. Okay, channel is how customers actually buy. Say online, you set up a store, okay, retail, and so on. Okay, so this channel. Number 4, how will you actually get and keep and grow customers? Basically marketing. Okay, how you actually get the customers. Don't think that that you have a good product, customer will say join it online and waiting to buy your product. No, you have to get them. Not only that, you have to get them, you have to keep them and grow them as well. Okay. And number 5, what are the key activities? Okay. And when you try to deliver your value propositions to your customers, what are the key activities? Okay, that you that you have to do, right? And of course, number 6, what are the key resources, okay, that you must have, you know, in order that you can deliver that value propositions to your customers? And number 7, of course, key partners. Who are the key partners? Okay, you actually need some key partners to help you. Number 8, revenue model. Now, revenue models, how you actually make money. What is your revenue models? What are the pricing tactics? Okay, how you actually set price? Okay, and number 9, of course, what are the most important costs in our business model? So these are the 9 parts of, say, value propositions. Starting with value propositions all the way from customers, channels, customers, relationships, key activities, key resources, key partners, okay, revenue streams, and also the cost structure. So these are the 9 parts. Now, look at these 9 questions and look at this business model canvas. It looks simple, okay? But when you want to construct a good business model, absolutely very, very difficult. Let's take some example. So these are the basically 9 questions. Right? 9 questions go like, say, my offer to the customers, who are the customers, okay, my interface, that is the channel, my relationship with the customers, how can I get growth and keep the customers, my benefits from the customers, basically the revenue model, okay, key resources and key partners and key activities. That is a key step to develop, to deliver to the customers, and at the end, the costs as well. Now, look simple, okay, let's try to do an exercise. Okay, we don't have that many time, but let's try. We try, for example, and the business model of McDonald's, right? I think we cannot survive without McDonald's, right? So all of us may have some experience and become customers of McDonald's. So let's try to do this. We want to come up with McDonald's business model. Okay, we want to come up with McDonald's business model. So let us try to construct the McDonald's business model using, say, this one, right? So, okay, yes, customers of McDonald's. Who are the customers of McDonald's? Anyone? Anyone? Let me check the customers of McDonald's. Yep. Teenagers? Everyone? Okay. Hungry people, good. Customer looking for food. All right, very good. So yes, then how about the value propositions? Value propositions of McDonald's. For us, yes, convenience, good. Anyone? Speed. Again, yeah. Yeah, cheap, clean, affordable, quick turnaround. Right? Good, very good. So how about the number 3? How about the channels? What is the channels of McDonald's? Channels, store, yeah, retail store, basically physical store, retail, outlets, yeah. Now actually you can buy McDonald's online, right? Yeah, you can go online and download an app, and you can actually buy McDonald's food app. Okay, an app, good. So number 4, how can we get in growth? Right? How can we keep and growth? Right? Okay, good advertising, yeah, promotion. Right? Okay, key activities. Key activities. Yeah, prepare food. Right? You know, fast and speed. Right? Cost, how about the costs? Cost structures of McDonald's. Cost structures of McDonald's. All right, now very good. Very good. All right, but now listen to this. I think we just come up with a McDonald's business model. Okay, are we? My comment is this: we all got it wrong. This is actually not McDonald's business model. Okay, it's actually not McDonald's business model. I want to say come up with a McDonald's business model, but what we are trying to work on or have working out is not McDonald's business model. Remember, you go to McDonald's, okay, you line up, okay, you buy a Big Mac, a Coke, then you pay, right? Will that money actually go to McDonald's? The answer is absolutely not. Okay, the money will go to the franchisees. So now we are working on not McDonald's business model. We are working on the franchisees business model, right? Okay, because you're not the customers of McDonald's. You're the customers of the franchisee. You understand what I'm saying? I want McDonald's business model. Okay, now McDonald's business model look very, very different. Wait, McDonald's model look very different. You think that you understand McDonald's business model, and most often than not, you don't. Okay, for example, McDonald's. Who are the customers? Who are actually the customers of McDonald's? Who are the customers of McDonald's? Yes, the franchisees. Basically, the franchisee pay McDonald's, right? You're not the customers of McDonald's. You're just the customers of the franchisees. And the real customers of McDonald's is the franchisees, right? Then, of course, well, look at the cost. Okay, look at the cost. Look at the cost. McDonald's business model. Okay, now customers, franchisees, cost. Who pay for the rent? Who pay the rent? McDonald's pay? No, McDonald's don't pay. The franchisee pay. Okay, who pay for the employees? McDonald's doesn't pay for the employees. The franchisee also pay. Okay, cost. Well, McDonald's advertise. Okay, McDonald's pay for the advertisement. No, McDonald's don't pay for the advertisement either. Okay? The franchisees every year they contribute a pool sum of money, and McDonald's actually use those pool of money to advertise on behalf of the franchisees. Okay. Actually, McDonald's never advertise. They only advertise on behalf of the franchisees. Revenue stream, revenue model. How McDonald's make money? How actually McDonald's make money? Yeah, of course. Good. Franchisee fees. They also pay rent. You know that McDonald's owns lots of shops, right? McDonald's owns lots of shops. McDonald's one of the biggest land owner, okay, right? They own a lot of shops and they rent the shops to the franchisees. So franchisees pay rent to McDonald's. Okay, what else? So they pay franchisee fees, they pay rent. What else? What else? McDonald's also, well, you become a franchisee, okay? You can only sell products and services that you buy from McDonald's, is it? Right? You become a captive customers of McDonald's, right? You cannot sell other things that you want. You only sell things that you buy from McDonald's. So you buy things from McDonald's. Not only service, hamburger, everything. Of course, McDonald's charge you. Okay, McDonald's also charge you on this. That's why McDonald's makes a lot of money. Okay, you do know that. I mean, I don't know Hong Kong, but I actually was told that in USA, okay, nearly 50% of the franchisees, they are not actually making any money. Okay, but so in regardless of whether the franchisee make money, McDonald's make a lot of money, right? So we move to, for example, okay, number 7, partner. Who are the real partners? Who are the key partners of McDonald's? Who are the key partners of McDonald's? Maybe suppliers, maybe franchisee is part of the partners, right? It's part of the partnership. Other key partners of McDonald's. Other key partners of McDonald's. We talk about key partners of McDonald's. Coca-Cola, yeah, suppliers, those are key partners. Logistics suppliers, yeah. I was told that one company basically supply all the ketchup to McDonald's, right? So yeah, Coke suppliers, right? But do you know that one, I would say the most important key partners for McDonald's is the real estate. It's the real estate, okay? Real estate become very, very important key partners for McDonald's. You understand that every time our new shopping mall open, they always reserve the best place, best locations for McDonald's. Of course, the reason why, okay? McDonald's, okay, go back to question number 1, value propositions. What is the McDonald's value propositions? Remember now, customers of McDonald's is the franchisees. Why franchisees want to become a franchisees of McDonald's? So what are they actually selling? Okay, what kinds of problems that McDonald's trying to solve? What is the pain points that McDonald's trying to provide solutions? Where are the propositions? Many people will say that McDonald's, why you want to become franchisees? Very simple. You want to become franchisees because you want to become an entrepreneur. Okay? But you want to become an entrepreneur quick. All right? So what is the quickest way to become a business owner? Is to become a franchisee of McDonald's. Right? They got everything ready. You just sign a contract, then you can open a shop tomorrow. Okay? You got the place ready, you got the system ready, they got a product ready. everything's ready. Okay, you just sign the dotted line, then you become a business owner. You become an entrepreneur. Right? Tomorrow, this is by far the quickest way to become an entrepreneur. Right? So people actually argue that McDonald's is selling dreams. Okay? They're not selling a product, they're selling dreams. Okay? You dream to become a business owner. You suddenly retire, then you have save up a little bit of money, and you want to say start your own company, and you have no way, okay, and you have no opportunities. Then the best way is to become McDonald's franchisees. Now, what I'm saying is that you will look at lots of companies. Okay, I submit to you that lots of this company. You think that you understand the business model, and most often you're not. You are not. You don't understand. Okay, so become a good entrepreneur, right? You need to understand how business model work. Business model is not that simple. It's not that straightforward. Okay. And beginning of this year, there's a firm. The name of the firm is called Founder. Anyone see that film called Founder? Okay. Firm features this guy, Ray Crofts. He is the real founder of McDonald's. Of course, McDonald's original founders by two brothers, Richard and Maurice McDonald. Okay, they're running a kind of a tiny corner shop selling McDonald's and burger. But this is this guy, Ray Crofts. So you see the firm, that firm explain the business model of McDonald's, Ray Crofts have built. Okay, so remember, you see the firm is very interesting. Okay, he's not selling. He's actually not trying to sell a better hamburger, a better French fry. Okay, the whole franchisee model basically is from him, right? And if you listen very carefully to in this firm, on day one he already argued that real estate, okay, real estate is become the major cornerstone of our business model. Okay. He literally say this. Are you actually aware that we are in the real estate business? So you see lots of this company. Okay, when you look at an organization, particularly successful organization, I would say that the first thing that perhaps we have to ask is what is the business model of this company? And I submit to you that lots of time you think that you understand, and most often than not you don't. Okay, so let's take another example. So you see a lot of different examples. You see a lot of different kinds of examples. This is, of course, all these companies are household name, right? Now, but then let me ask you then, you understand the business model of all this company? You understand the business model of all this company? Right? Right? Now, the definitions of a startup is to build a good business model, but you don't, lots of times you don't understand the business model. For example, take anyone has the example. Okay, so let's for example take this one, Ralph Lauren. Okay, I bought this T-shirt many years ago in United States. This one cost me $50 US. Okay, New York airport. So I bought this one $50. Now, immediately when I come back, right, people ask me the same questions. The question is, well, this is $50 US. Well, you can easily buy a very similar kind of polo shirt. In Hong Kong, Giordano, for example, Giordano beginning of this year is $100 for two. You have to buy two polo shirts, okay, for $100. So this one is $50 US, and a similar polo shirt that you can buy in Hong Kong is $50 US, 50 Hong Kong dollars. So this one is 7 times, 8 times more expensive than the kind of a polo shirt that you can buy in Hong Kong, right? Okay, why? People say, hey, because this have a brand, right? Because this is polo shirt, Ralph Lauren. That's why people are willing to pay more. But you have to understand that Many years ago, 25 years ago, when Ralph Lauren built this organization, at that time, it's no brand. He had to build his brand. Okay, actually, he had to build his brand. At that time, people buy $50 for this polo shirt. They're not buying the brand. They're buying something very interesting. Of course, now you come and buy partly because of the brand, but not at that time. Okay, right? So people will ask, hey, what is the business model of Ralph Lauren? And immediately people will say that, hey, what is he selling? Right? He's not selling a t-shirt. You see, this is polo shirt, right? What is a polo shirt? Polo is a game, right? Who play polo? It's so rich and famous, the prince play polo. No, I will never play polo. Doesn't really matter. I dream one day I can play polo. Okay, it will never happen, but I can still buy a polo shirt. You turn this polo games, polo shirt. This polo shirt is for use for the games of polo. So now you can buy polo shirt. Okay, you don't even have a chance to play polo, but it doesn't really matter. For example, Olympic Games uniform. Okay, you will never go to the Olympic Games. But I cannot say never, all right, but you don't want to go to Olympic Games, right? Right? But Ralph Lauren come up with Olympic Game uniform that you can actually buy and wear, right? Right? Ralph Lauren versus aristocracy. Okay, Princess Diana, you are not Princess Diana. You're not even a prince. But you come up with a fashion design theme, okay? Then you can dress like a prince or princess, right? So you have more orders. So what are they actually selling? They're selling unfulfilled dreams, right? Something that you dream to be, but you have no time and no money and nothing. Okay? But at least you can buy a design, buy clothes from Ralph Lauren, okay, that partially can realize their dreams, right? Right? And so, for example, an officer and a gentleman, this is one of the most famous fashion collections for Ralph Lauren. Okay, this is a uniform, okay, military uniform. This one is designed for ladies. Most of ladies never go to war, but they design kind of a clothes, a military clothes for them, okay, so that they can partially realize their unfulfilled dreams. So this is actually very, very interesting, okay? So answering the first questions, value propositions, you look at lots of organizations, right? They come up with very, very interesting business model. So what you have to do is something like this. And ideas and opportunities does not start in business, okay? Never start a company without business model. And business model is sometimes the innovation. It's not the product. Sometimes business model is the innovations. Say for example, McDonald's. Okay? You know, what is the innovations of McDonald's? What is the innovative part of McDonald's? It's a franchisee model developed by Ray Crofts. Okay, the definition of a startup is to find the right business model, and of course, you have to say modify the business model until it works. Right, and then put business model into execution mode. In the sense that you have to say execute business model, execute. Okay, business model can be executed because you know who are the customers, you know how you get the customers, you know how customers actually buy from you, you know the revenue model, you know the cost, and also you know all the activities that you need to put in order for you to deliver value propositions to your customers. So these are executable. Okay, it's not just an idea. Okay? Business model now become a communication currency. Every time you go to a VC, every time you go to meetings, okay, people would ask you about your product. The first question, likely the first questions for your company is that, what is your business model? Okay, you should be able to articulate, okay, your value propositions, your customers, segments, and so on. Okay, in order for others people to understand your business. Okay. So now business model become what we call a communication currency. They always talk about business model. Now, let me say this. Look at these pictures very carefully. Look at these pictures. Okay, this is Hong Kong, Shanghai. Okay, I took this picture myself. This picture is at that time it's 1 o'clock. Now you see these pictures. You look at these pictures. Okay, there's a long queue there, right? You see me over there, right? Long queue, waiting to go into this tiny corner shop that sell ramen. This corner shop very small, only have about 4 or 5 tables. Okay, inside, right? And you see long queue that wait there. Okay, to go in. Now let me ask you, if you see this, what will you do? What will you do? You see this? What will you do? Don't wait. Just line up. Go home. Yes, good. I suggest this is what you should do as an entrepreneur. If you are an entrepreneur, if you start a company, this is exactly what you should do. Line up, join the queue, wait there for 2 hours, go to the shops and buy a bowl of ramen. While you're eating your bowl of ramen, take out the business model canvas. Okay? Then you begin to ask the question, hey, look at these shops. What is the value propositions of these shops? Who are the customers? Why they come? Okay? What are they buying? What is the value propositions? Right? What is the channels, revenue models, costs? Okay? While you're eating your ramen, get your business model canvas done with it. Okay? This is what you should do as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs always have a habit of business model canvassing. They always have this kind of habit, right? Business model canvassing. Okay. Next time you go to a shopping mall, you see a shop, long queue waiting, okay, to go to the shop. What should you do? Join the queue, go to the shop, buy something. While you're walking back, right? Think about the shop, take out your business model canvas and begin to ask questions. Hey, what is the value propositions, customer segment? In other words, right, you have to try to understand business model, try to train up your mind, okay, so that you can see business model. Otherwise, you cannot, and you will not be able to come up the business model that works for you because you don't even understand business models of successful company. How can you actually build business model that works? And I submit to you again that sometimes business model is not that simple and straightforward. Okay, so now we have no time, and so before I stop here, just an advertisement. I taught the MBA. And both in Hong Kong and in China for many years. For each of the MBA class, I actually taught more than 150 students almost every year. So so every year, each of my students have to study a case. Okay, they have to interview an entrepreneur and literally write up the whole case of the entire entrepreneurial journey. And over the past 10 years, I have collected more than 2,000 cases. So at the end, I study all those 2,000 cases. Then for those 2,000 cases, I actually written a book for the 2,000 cases. That so this is the book that you are interested in. Yeah, we can you can actually buy. And so by the way, this is at one of the time, this become the Amazon China bestseller. Okay, so good. This is the name. Unfortunately, this is actually written in Chinese, but I working on the with a publisher, hoping that beginning of this year, this time next year, the Chinese version will come up. Okay, good. So I better stop here and. I can take some questions.
So thank you, Professor Lam, for the sharing. And then now let's move on to the Q&A section. And then we have...
I have one student. She's so eager that she sent me an email, okay, asking me specific questions. So I better answer question first, right? And because she's so eager, okay. Her question goes like this. So business model. What is the best way to understand business model, right? You can say business model sometimes is not easy. And what is the best way to understand business model? Now, my answer to this one is, lots of time, business model, you cannot sometimes understand business model of quick companies by simply say, for example, you go to the website and trying to want to take out business models, okay? And most often they're not, okay? Business model, even you go to say McDonald's website, they will not explain their business model like this. So a couple of things that you can actually help you to understand business model. Okay, number one, I suggest that you read company annual report. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, a much better way is to read IPO prospectus. Now, every time a company go for IPO, okay, they have to publish IPO prospectus. Okay, yeah. Now study those IPO prospectus. It's quite good. Why? Because it's at that time they will explain how this company make money. They will clearly explain. Sometimes you say, hey, this company is not very famous, okay? You go to the shop, there's not many people actually on the shop, but they make tons of money. Why? Right? So at the time, say you read those IPO prospectus that are widely available. You just go to the stock exchange website, then download all those IPO prospectus. You begin to read those prospectus. Sometimes they will give you very, very clear descriptions of the business model. Okay, that's why you see, for example, say Warren Buffett. Well, Warren Buffett always say this. Okay, IPO prospectus is the best reading. Okay, in his book, he said that he actually read 2 prospectus almost every day. Right, so this maybe is one of the best way to try to understand companies' business model. Another way about this, okay, to talk to say people actually working in that organization as well. What I'm saying is that a lot of time for business model, you just cannot simply go to the website and try to understand. Right? You have to dig a little bit more, right, deeper, right? So reading prospectus, talk to the people inside, read their annual report. And so on. That will actually help you. Yes. Any more questions?
So there's a question from the audience. I understand the importance of a good business model, but what about startups like Facebook, which started out without a business model? And what if we have a good product, but we figure out a way to monetize over time?
That is not true. When Facebook started up with Facebook, okay, Mark Zuckerberg, he actually have a business model, right? If you listen to him, if you read his writing, he actually have a business model, right? Okay, but the time he start, he actually have the business model version 1. Okay, so it's not true that he don't have a business model. He actually have a business model version 1. But of course, model version 1 will not work. Okay, will not work. You have to constantly modify your business model. Okay, you talk to the customer, you go back and you modify and try it again. Okay, and now you read his book. Okay, you read his writing. Okay, Facebook, the successful business model of Facebook is version 6. So he actually iterated 6 times, right? Then that model works, right? From a different customer segment, all the way go to the channel as well. Okay, you understand Facebook business models. Not that straightforward. You go to Facebook, okay? You pay to use Facebook. No, you're not paying. Okay, you're actually not paying to use Facebook. You are just a user. But actually, Facebook earn a lot of money. The revenue model of Facebook, beautifully constructed. Okay, beautifully constructed. I would say that the innovation part of the business model of Facebook is on the pricing strategies, the revenue model. That is, in fact, okay, is the innovation part. Very much like Google. So Google, you go to Google, right? Google, you use Google. Or I use Google almost every day, but I never pay to use Google. But Google also very profitable company, one of the most profitable organizations in the world. Okay, who pay? Okay, and Google, of course. So to answer the second part of your question, you may come up with a good product. Okay, but good product, you still have to answer the 9 questions of the business model canvas. You may have a good idea. You may have a new technology. You come up with a new technology. Okay, you may even have a good patents. Okay, file that good, but you still have to answer who is going to buy the product. What are you actually selling? Okay, how you actually make money, right? So all those things you still have to answer. So what I'm saying is that a good product idea or even a good product prototype that doesn't start company is the business model that start company. Good.
So another question is, does the business model canvas work for social enterprise?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, business model work for a non-profit making organization, right? So non-profit making organization, okay, you still need to answer the 9 questions. Okay, where are the propositions? You become a service provider, okay? Who are the customers? You still have to answer those questions. Perhaps the revenue models look a little bit different, yeah, but you still need to come up with a revenue model. Okay, you maybe the cost side may be a little bit different, but still the 9 parts of business model canvas is still very, very relevant. It's still, I will still make the same statement that even for NGO, okay, never start an NGO, okay, without a business model. Yeah.
So the next question is, what about the perspective that you try and gain so much traction as possible and as many users as possible, and then monetizing becomes easier?
So you say again? I missed the second part.
So when you try and gain as much traction as possible and as many users as possible, and then is monetizing become easier?
No. That's not how it works, okay? And a business model, now you become, say, now you have a first version of business model, right? Then of course you modify. Now, the way that you modify is that you modify until it can sell, right? Now, this is a very important point here, that at the end of the day, okay, who decide you have a good business model? It's your customer decide. In other words, you have to modify a pivot until you can sell something. Okay, until you can actually sell something. Whether the customer like it or not doesn't really matter. Until the day the customer is willing to pay, okay, for the product or services that you provide. So you keep on, say, modify the product until one day the customer pay, until you can sell. So in other words, how you actually modify the business model is that you're trying to go out and try to talk to the customers, okay? Yeah, to see whether the customer actually willing to buy, and try to understand why customers don't want to buy. Then you modify, okay? Perhaps the channel is not correct, perhaps the value proposition is wrong, the customer actually don't have that need, but you are targeting the wrong kind of customers, okay? And then until the day they say customer really want to buy, then you're actually selling something that you have a repeatable and scalable business model. Okay? So it's until that you can sell. Of course, one of the big missing part of entrepreneurship is that entrepreneur like to, most of entrepreneurs, they like to, yeah, I think they enjoy, say, business model planning. But one missing part of entrepreneur is that most of entrepreneurs, they don't know how to sell things. They don't know how to sell things. Okay, they don't understand selling part. This is something that perhaps entrepreneurs need to learn. That is, modify the business model until you can actually sell things. Okay. Yeah.
Another question is, how should we validate our initial business model before spending too much resources on perfecting it?
The thing is, don't scale up. Don't scale up until it can sell. Okay, don't scale up. And also, my advice for the first question, for your first part, is that you will never get the business model 100% correct before you start. Okay, so don't put lots of say. You don't need to come up with a perfect, because at the end of the day, okay, when you start a company with version 0, you will always end up with your version 6 or 7. Okay, before this is the model that works for the company. So my suggestion is that, okay, for version 0, okay, as long as you think it makes sense, okay, as long as you talk to someone that, particularly your mentor, that makes sense, okay, then you begin to start, okay. But you don't put in lots of money, you don't hire lots of executives, you don't want to put in lots of inventory and sell things. So the thing is, remember the definitions of a startup is to search for a business model, and searching for a business model don't require lots of capitals. Okay, so you're in a certain stage. You're not on the scaling up stage. On the scaling up stage, you need lots of capital. So don't put in lots of money at the time you start the company, right? So you're on the searching stage. Okay, so talk to customers. Okay, try this one, try that one. Okay, there's a process that you can try it out until you say, hey, this model actually that work. Then you scale up. Scale up is an entirely different ball games altogether. So the answer is that, okay, start, okay, with your version 1. Don't think that, hey, I need to have a perfect business model before I can even start. No, start. Does that make sense? So start. Then remember definitions of a startup. Okay, it's search. So don't put in lots of money and then yeah. So yeah, okay.
So can you share some resources where we can learn more about the business models of different companies and understand it?
I think I just recommend one thing that you can do is to read the IPO prospectus. Okay. Now the other thing is talk to lots of people. Talk to lots of business owners. Talk to lots of people. Okay, and develop a business model canvassing habit. For example, I always suggest that you go to the trade fairs, trade show, right? Trade fairs. Okay? Trade fairs, you go to each of these shops, right? And trying to talk to each of the business owner. They actually sell you different things. Okay? Go to the exhibition center. Okay? Go to trade show. Trade fair is a must go for entrepreneur. Okay? Go there and talk to them. Okay, try to understand the business model, okay, and then you begin to develop a sense of what is a good business model, and you begin to see the opportunity as well. Otherwise, you won't see an opportunity when you come. So there's no shortcut. There's no shortcut for understanding business model. Okay, so try to develop that kind of habit. Business model canvassing is a habit. Okay, next time you go to Japan, okay, visit a shop, you just don't buy souvenirs. Okay? You go to the shop, you say, hey, what is the business model of this shop? Okay? Then you begin to accumulate your your knowledge and experience of how to look at the business, how to develop a solid business model. Okay, so number one, read. Number two, talk to lots of people, particularly business owner, particularly mentor. Okay, you have a mentor, that's good. Nowadays, it's very difficult to start a company without a mentor. My recommendation is don't start a company. Okay, if you don't have a mentor, very difficult. But then talk to lots of people. Okay, right. And number three, develop business model canvassing. Okay.
As our time is limited today, so our second last question is, what type of business do you think is and will be popular in the future? Like only making some new products, or is it for export or import?
No, that have to be very specific. I don't have time to go through. Okay, if you come to my MBA class, okay, we'll actually go through what we call the hottest, okay, the most there's a couple of things that's the hottest areas, okay, that you can actually develop the business model. For example, very quickly that I actually have a student, okay, 5 years ago come to me and say, hey, Professor Lam, I want to start a company. What is the what areas should I start? 5 years ago I said fintech, right? Fintech. I said fintech is hot. That's 5 years ago. Fintech. So he developed a company 5 years ago. Then just beginning of this year, he sold actually his whole company to Alibaba, right? Not Alibaba, Alipay. Okay, Alipay actually buy this company from him, right? So now, beginning of this year, he come back to me and say, hey, Professor Lam, 5 years ago, you say, hey, it's fintech, right? 5 years ago. Now I sell my company already, okay? So can you give me another 2 words, okay, that I can develop for the next 5 years? Actually, I told him that this time is not fintech. This time is edtech, education technology. Okay, that's actually hot. But of course, so edtech is hot. Okay, you talk about say AI, but AI of course is also hot. But AI, the hottest areas of AI is not for entertainment. AI is you have to develop AI for business applications. Business application for AI is also a hot topic. Okay, so you have lots of different kinds of topic that you can actually develop, right? That includes a VR and so on. Okay, yeah.
So our audience wonder if it's possible to get a copy of the presentation slides.
Yeah, why not? I can. Why don't I? After the talk, I can. Should I send Amy? Okay. Should I send you a copy or the item? I can share. I can send you a copy that you can share it with the audience.
Thank you very much.
So thank you, Professor Lam, for the sharing and answering the questions from the audience. And then now we'll have some time to tell you guys about what we're doing in iDendron. So basically, we'll have our next week section of EA. That is Dr. Sean Zhao to share on how to commercialize technology. And please stay tuned to the EA section. And then next up, we have a webinar on new opportunities and challenges during COVID-19 pandemic. So we are glad to have invited Mr. Philip Lam, who is the co-founder of HomeCard, and also Ms. Edith Yeung, who is the co-founder of Founders HK. And then please feel free to sign in if you are interested. And in 2018, we are glad to have brought HomeCard to HKU in the local U Hall. So this is where their idea was originated at, and to demonstrate their ideas. So this is a clip that you can see home card. Second. You see? So wait a second. So I'll be adjusting the audio.
人工智能同手機人工智能係創科熱門範疇之一。人工智能係創科熱門範疇之一，除咗有本地獨角獸公司，亦都有本地初創成功走上國際舞台。呢間初創公司利用人工智能同手機鏡頭，開發出一個能夠實時分析籃球員動作嘅 App。2018年9月，創辦人有機會同知名籃球員 Steve Nash 一齊喺蘋果嘅產品發佈會介紹自己個 App。同時，呢個 App 亦都吸引到唔少籃球界，包括林書豪、Steve Nash、Mark Cuban 等。
So this is basically the introduction of HomePod. So next up, we have launched our latest Instagram account. So please follow us and like our page. Yep. So now I'll pass the time to Taurus.
Okay, so thank you very much, Professor Lam. This is the end of today's sessions. So see you next week and feel free to talk to each other in the WhatsApp group. Bye-bye.